Okay, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most powerful and, honestly, often invisible tools a writer has in their arsenal: point of view. You can think of it as the engine of the story. It's what dictates how we see everything, and more importantly, how we feel about it. So, let me just ask you this. Picture an event. Any event. Say, a bear wanders into a suburban backyard. How is it possible that this one single event can become a terrifying horror story for one person, but a laugh-out-loud comedy for another? How can the facts be the same, but the stories feel so completely different?
Well, the answer is simple, but it's also incredibly profound. It all comes down to the narrative point of view. It's the literal lens the writer chooses for us to see the world through. And once they choose that lens, they have an incredible amount of control over what we see, what we know, and what we feel.
Okay, so let's open up the storyteller's toolkit. To really get a grip on this, we need to understand the four main lenses a writer can use. These are the fundamentals, the absolute bedrock of the craft, so you'll want to lock these in.
Here they are, our four main tools. First up, you've got first person, which uses I. That's our direct personal pipeline right into a character's thoughts. Then there's the very strange and rare second person, using you. It basically makes you, the reader, the main character. After that is third person limited, which sticks close to one character, using he or she. And finally, there's the big one, third person omniscient, the narrator who knows and sees all. The key to spotting them? The pronouns. They're like little signposts telling you whose eyes you're looking through. Let's look at first person in action. Just listen to this. I would not say it to a living soul. Doesn't that just feel like a secret? Like you're being let in on something deeply personal? That is the power of that tiny word I. It gives us this unfiltered, immediate access to the narrator's mind. We feel her isolation because we are right there with her. But, and this is a big but, that kind of intimacy always comes with a cost. And here it is. This is the cost. When you are locked inside one person's head, you are only ever getting their version of the truth. This brings us to a super important concept, the unreliable narrator. It's a storyteller we just can't, or maybe shouldn't, fully trust. So if there's one thing to take away from this, it's that intimacy often comes at the price of objectivity.
All right, theory's great, but let's see how this actually works in practice. We're going to do a little side-by-side experiment. We'll take the exact same event, a hiker's scary encounter in the woods, but we're going to tell it through two completely different lenses. Let's watch what happens. Probably the best way to think about this is with a camera analogy. First person, the I voice, that's like using a macro lens. You're zoomed way in on the emotion, the texture, the feeling of the moment. Third person, on the other hand, is like a wide-angle lens. You pull way back to capture the whole landscape, the objective facts. One is about feeling, the other is about seeing. So, let's compare the evidence. On the left, in the memoir, the trail is a suggestion. What a great word, right? It feels uncertain, emotional, a little dangerous. Now look at the report on the right. Trail visibility was significantly reduced. That's purely clinical. It's a fact. It's the exact same trail, but it might as well be on two different planets.
And now for the emotional core. The memoir gives you that gut punch. My heart jumped into my throat. You can almost feel it yourself, that shot of adrenaline. But the report? Standard safety protocols were initiated. It's like, where did the person go? The fear, the humanity, it's completely erased and replaced with this detached procedural jargon.
So, what's the verdict on our experiment? This chart lays it all out. The memoir, with its I, creates tension and makes us identify with the hiker. We're in their shoes. The report creates distance and turns us into a detached observer. Your entire relationship to the story is transformed all because of that one little choice of point of view. Okay, so we've nailed the basics. Now let's level up. We're going to look at a couple of the more advanced, more specialized lenses. These are the ones that create some truly unique and powerful effects. We're talking about the all-knowing God's eye view and the deeply immersive you. So, the third-person omniscient narrator, think of it like a satellite in orbit. It's not stuck on the ground with one character's limited perspective. Nope, it's floating high above, able to see everything happening, everywhere, all at once. It can dip into any character's mind, reveal any secret, and even jump across time.
Just take a look at this. Landed hard enough to split continents. I mean, seriously, could a single character witness that? Absolutely not. This is a mythic, cosmic scale of storytelling. This is that God's eye view, a perspective that can see all of time and space, which makes it perfect for those huge epic tales.
And now, for the strangest lens in the toolkit, second person. As you read this, just notice what happens inside your head. The story isn't about him or her, it's about you. You step onto the platform. The writer is literally pointing a finger right at you, the reader, and forcing you to become the main character. It is an incredibly bold move.
So I'll ask you directly, how does that feel? To be put on the spot like that? It can be intensely immersive for sure, but it can also be pretty disorienting, maybe even a little accusatory. There's no escape. The author is looking you in the eye and saying, this is your story now. It's a technique you don't soon forget.
So, we've got the theory down. We've seen it in action, but why does any of this actually matter outside of a literature class? This right here is maybe the most important part of our whole conversation, because these narrative lenses, they aren't just in books. They are absolutely everywhere, including your social media feed.
Think about how you get your information every day. You see that emotional, first-hand TikTok video from someone who was at an event? That's a first-person memoir. Then you read a formal news article about that same event. That's a third-person report. One gives you raw emotion, the other gives you objective facts. So the really crucial question I want you to ask yourself is this: which lens do you instinctively trust more, and why?
And so we end with one last big question. Now that you've seen how a simple pronoun can transform sheer terror into a dry statistic, I want you to really consider this. Is point of view the single most powerful, most important tool a storyteller has for controlling a reader's emotions? That's the thought I want to leave you with.